So just the other day, I was looking around for something to make a video on, as honestly, there isn't really a whole lot of content for me to make videos on until all hell breaks loose. But before then, I wanted to sort of upload something in between. So I was just looking around on Master Duel Meta, looking for something interesting, and something interesting certainly did appear. Something that managed to get top 4 in MBT's $10,000 tournament series. A penguin. But not just any penguin. Penguin Soldier. You know, the card from like 2003? And after seeing this deck actually performing using this card as a key component of it, you just know I had to try this shit out. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get into the deck list, if you're enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future, especially if you're a returning viewer, as apparently about 50% of people watching this are even subscribed to the channel, yet nearly all of you are returning viewers who have seen my content before. So you find yourself keep coming back to the channel and see more content just like this in the future, remember to leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Also, I have a bunch of videos planned coming out in a couple of days once the Tier Element pack opens with Melfi, Tier Element and whatever else is in that pack, so if you want to see any of that content, remember to leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get into the deck list. So today's deck list is obviously going to be Penguin Sprites, so I'm not going to go through any of the Sprite stuff here, as you guys all know what that stuff does by now. I'm going to go through why the hell we're running Penguins. So, of course, the main penguin, the main focus of the deck list is the fact we have this little level 2 penguin here, as it's the glue that holds this entire sort of package together, because obviously, sprites need some level 2s to play. So we have Penguin Soldier, a card that is simply a flip effect monster, and as we know, flip effects aren't really that great. This card can target up to 2 monsters on the field and return those targets to hand. Not bad for a monster made in like 2001 or whenever this card was released. But essentially, the whole point is to get this card on the field, and then have a copy of your Penguin Brave on the field as well. As this card, it can on its summon, it will summon out a penguin from deck in face down defense position, which will be this dude, and then when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can target your penguin, flip it face up, and return 2 cards to hand. So, or return 2 monsters to hand, I should say. So, essentially, that's the whole goal of this deck list. You get your level 2 on the field by summoning out your level 6, which summons it to the field, return 2 monsters to hand when they try to use a monster effect. Pretty damn easy. And the best part about it is it's so easily summonable in Spright when you have copies of things like Penguin Squire, because literally all you need for Penguin Squire is any level 2 monster in the deck at all, literally any of them, and you just set it face down. This will activate Penguin Squire's effect to summon itself to the field, which can then flip the face down, face up. It's a tuner monster, it will reduce its level by 1, you have a level 4, a level 2, and you make your level 6. So if you ever open any of these guys, or any of your field spells, you'll just have access to your Penguin package. Now I know this question will probably come up if I don't cover it during the deck list portion, so essentially you guys might notice that my particular deck list is quite different to the guy who played it in the tournament, simply because I didn't really like the whole Penguin package using the big dude, Emperor Penguin, whatever his name is, this dude, because your standard combo with this would summon 2 level 3s, and there was never a point in the combo where you'd have a level 2 on the field, unlike with the Penguin Squire package, which does end up with a level 4 and a level 2, so you can summon out your Spright stuff beforehand, then go into your full Penguin package, then continue the Spright stuff afterwards. Because even with the Spright locks, which lock you into only level 2s, you can do that sort of after you summon your level 6, as you'll see during the gameplay portion, so it doesn't really affect you too much. But trying to play the Emperor Penguin sort of package that you saw during the tournament deck list, it doesn't really sort of combo very well, so I didn't really like it too much, so I didn't bother playing it. I just preferred to play purely the Penguin Squire combo, which, when you have 6 copies of this card, it's like a 57% chance to open one of these, so 57% of your games, you're gonna be doing some Penguin stuff. Alright guys, as for the rest of the deck list, honestly, there isn't really much left to talk about, it's just a bunch of Spright stuff. If you're wondering why in particular I'm running 2 Penguin Soldier instead of 1, you can only run 1, but I highly recommend playing 2, simply because if you open a copy of Penguin Squire, you can use your field spell to search for this card instead, and this combos really well with this on its initial summon, because you can set this thing, summon this thing, and it will flip face up, turning into a nice board breaker that can return 2 of your opponent's monsters to hand. And then you can still go into your level 6, and still have one of these penguins left in deck to summon to the field. So I think 2 of these is way better than 1, but if you want to run 1 extra hand trap, you can cut one of these if you like. But otherwise, the rest of the deck list is all just standard sort of spritey stuff, so without further ado, let's check out some gameplay. So today I have 4 replays to share with you guys, all of which were gathered in Platinum, but obviously, as you can see by starting at Plat 5 and ending at Plat 3 and the season just reset, this deck could easily get you Diamond, but I didn't really need to tell you that considering, well, it's just a Spright deck list with a bit of spice on top of it, and as we know, Sprite's a pretty good deck, so easily a good deck to climb with, it's just a more spicy way of playing Spright. Alright, so this first replay, it's going to be incredibly boring, I'm going to be honest, simply because I think my opponent bricked, but the whole point of this replay is just me showing off the standard combo. I could have done it in sort of a solo mode story and shown it off there, but I thought I'd just show it off via this replay instead, just because it's the same stuff. Alright, so for your standard combo for your penguins, all you need is just any monster at all, doesn't matter what, and your field spell or your level 5 penguin, because as you'll see, this one's just going to search for level 5 penguin. And that's basically your standard penguin combo, just those 2 cards. But if you open a Spright as well, you're going to end on a massive end board, so let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is our search, see if there's any Ash Blossoms. Was a Maxx seed, we got called by, so doesn't matter obviously. Alright. Fast forward these animations a little bit. Get a hold of our level 5, our Penguin Squire. And then first thing we're going to do is we're going to set a monster, which looks kind of weird, but if you set a monster, this is how you activate the effect of your Penguin Squire, which now special summon itself to the field. And reduce its level by 1. Then we can use its effect to target this face down and flip it face up. Now, if we're going second, by the way, and you happen to open a copy of your Penguin Soldier, or you happen to open a copy of your Penguin Squire and use your field spell, you can search for your Penguin Soldier, and you just happen to open this 2 combo here, this card being flipped face up means it can target 2 monsters in the field and return it to hand. So it's a good way to break boards, and you'll see during my some of my other replays, I do actually do that. So, but in this case, we're just going to flip it face up. This could be any monster, it doesn't have to be this penguin, just has to be a level 2 monster, because now we've got level 4 and level 2. Because we have a level 2 on field being special summon our Spright. It's important to do the Spright stuff now because obviously I'm going to go into a level 6 synchro in a second, so going into that will mean I'll have no level 2s on the field. So if you have any Sprites, summon them at this point. Alright. Also important to note, because I'm going to search for a Smashers, oh sorry, he negates it. But when you search for, not your Smashers, your Spright Starter, when you go into your Spright Starter or you go into your Gigantic, you'll notice they have their little lock on them where you can only summon level 2 monsters for the rest of the turn. So keep in mind, you don't want to do, you can go into your Spright stuff, but you want to stop before you go into your lock, because you want to go into your level 6 synchro before you do any of that. Because it only locks you for the rest of the turn, so you can actually go into level 6s and stuff, but you have to do it before you do most of the Spright stuff. It's just important you get level 2s on the field before you go into it, because otherwise, obviously, there'll be no level 2s to continue your Spright stuff afterwards, if that makes sense. Alright, it's going to negate this. Now we can go into our level 6. Summoning our Penguin Brave. This can now set a Penguin straight from the deck, grabbing a Penguin Soldier. Then we just continue our Spright stuff. Unfortunately, because of that Ash Blossom, it was a little bit rough. It means we're probably going to end on, like, basically nothing. Maybe a negate and an IP, maybe. Yeah, we're literally just going to end on a Spright Elf with a negate on field. Not exactly the most optimal field. But yeah, this is the whole point of this end board is to show off the fact that we've got a Penguin Brave on the field in combination with our Penguin Soldier. So if my opponent ever activates a monster effect, I can chain my Penguin Brave, flip this face up, and return 2 cards to hand. Which keep in mind, because you're doing it via the Penguin Brave's effect, if my opponent has like a special summon monster from hand that uses an effect in hand to summon something to the field, you could use this in response to that, and then once the thing resolves and he summons his monster to the field, your Penguin Soldier's effect will resolve, and you can return stuff to hand. So it's pretty good to things like fusion spells and stuff as well, if they happen to use some sort of monster effect somehow. So I guess not fusion spells, but you get what I mean. If a monster effect goes off. Yeah, this guy said like nothing else. Alright, he's killed by the grave. Yeah, I think his hand was just pretty bricky, or he's trying to bait out my monster negate or something. I don't really know what he was trying to do here. I think he just kind of knew he was pretty doomed. Alright. So that's just an example replay. Now let's show off some more of the spicier stuff we can do. One of these replays in particular is pretty amusing. Hopefully this is the Shadol replay. Because that one was a banger. Alright. So we are going second on this one. This must be the Shadol replay. This was a great Absolutely great replay. Alright, so he sets a bunch of back row. I'm kind of scared. I'm like, oh no, it's going to be a floodgate deck. Real cringe. I've got no back row removal. I've got a Smashers, that's about it. Alright, so set my monster can be literally anything. This case was a Maxx. He activates his Shadow stuff. Putting a Shadow on the field. I assume this is to help him fusion summon or something. Flip it face up. Summon my Spright monster because I need a level 2 at this point. Now I'm going to my level 6. Which will summon out a copy of my Penguin from the deck. He's gonna Super Poly. Thankfully not using my Penguin Brave, he wants to use the Dark monster. So he can make a Winder. Now the funny thing here is, he summons his Winder, I summon my Penguin to the field, but then he decides to resolve a monster effect. Big mistake, and unfortunately you don't get to see it, but he knows what's about to happen. His 2 monsters are about to get returned to hand via the Penguin flipping this Penguin face up, will return the 2 to hand, and he concedes instantly after realizing what he'd done. Absolute Giga Brain right there. So that's an example of the Penguin combo being able to break boards, because that is something that it can do. Alright. Giga Brain right there. I wish that thing had actually wish that had resolved, because that would have made a really good YouTube short as well. But sadly, the effect didn't resolve, so I can't really make it into a video. Sadly, the opponent just conceded. I don't think he even conceded, I think he Alt F4'd. Anyway. Alright, going second again versus a Sword Soul. Pretty decent hand, obviously, we got Maxx, so... any hand with Maxx is generally a good hand. Of course, gonna be using that, and I believe it resolved. Yep. So from here, I'm expecting my opponent to just go into maybe a level 6 with the 1 back row, and that'd probably be the most he'll do. They generally don't go much further than that. Yeah, there's the blackout. And passes it. So not too hard to play through this. Gonna search my Penguin, searching for my Squire. Summon my monster by discarding a water. Keep in mind, by the way, all your penguins, if I don't mention this during the decklist portion, they're all water monsters, so your swamp frogs can discard them to summon themselves. So if you've got extra penguins in hand, feel free to summon them. Use them to summon your swamp frogs. My opponent has a Maxx, we've got a cool buy. So that's just how you be better than your opponent. You just open the cool buys for their Maxxs. Alright, summon my Spright Blue, getting a search. Returning to hand, my opponent now uses Blackout, and I believe I haven't even used my normal summon yet. Bit of an early Blackout, to be honest, because he was scared I was going to summon the Carrot and have a negate on field, so sure, I guess. I don't even know, he hadn't used his monster negate either yet. I don't know what he was doing. I had Droplet, so I was completely safe, but I don't know what he was doing, some weird plays. Either way, summon my Penguin, flip my boy face up. And then, once I go into my Penguin Brave, I believe... Nibiru. Because for some reason, someone is still playing Nibiru in Spright format. I do not play around this card anymore, because I assume people don't play it, because it's so bad in just Spright normally. It's only good because I'm playing Penguin. Because normally, obviously, you can't summon Nibiru after I've summoned my, Gigantic, so it's really weird, but anyway. Alright, thankfully I still had some special summons, so I can still make some plays. I still have some Toads, so I can still set up some stuff. Particularly a Smashers and hopefully an IP, I think I end on. Smashers IP. So Spright summoning yet another Toad. Setting one of my Penguins. Summoning my Spright Elf. Bring him back. Getting my IP Masquerena. Banish, so I have an extra card, so if I want to go into a Knightmare Unicorn, and pass them though. Or just have a target for Smashers. Which I have to use, because my opponent does try to go into battle phase, I believe. So summon my negate, he's still trying to, by the way, at this point, he's still trying to go into battle phase, which is when I can't use IP Masquerena, so I have to use all my stuff now, at least try to defend it. So we use Smashers, get rid of this nib. He summons out a Tenyi, or at least sends it to the graveyard, I think. It's actually a pretty clever way to, out some stuff, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so he tries to go to battle phase here. I'm like, alright, I'll swap it out. Yeah, because now he's going to try to deal with this in a pretty clever fashion. So he's going to swing into this, which is obviously going to give him a bunch of battle damage, but because this goes to the graveyard, he can actually pop a monster on the field, so he can pop my Spell and Trap card negate. So by doing this, it looks weird, but he was actually trying to just get this card's effect off to pop my negate. Alright, Sun's back, gets to pop this on the field. Start summoning some 10 years out. But I believe he's... I don't know why he waited so long on Feather Duster. Normally use this at the start, but okay. He could have used it before I even had my negate out. Wouldn't have mattered because I would have used the I didn't need this Droplet anyway. As you can see, I just let it get banished here, and I would have just used the Smashers on the Nibiru. But still, I don't know why he didn't use this at the start. Either way, unless he drew a card then or something. I just didn't see. I don't know. All right, now, he can't really do a whole lot here. It's pretty hard for him to get through this. So I'm pretty sure if a shooter targets, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it targets one card. So yeah, fortunately, he targets my Penguin, puts that back in hand, so you don't get to see its flip effect. My poor little Penguin. Cute card art though. Sun's back a dude, but that's not really going to do a whole lot. Just like my top deck. Alright, beat over his one monster. I don't care about this thing, he doesn't do anything. And we just hope he doesn't top deck. It's down to a top deck war, and if he fails it, he loses, so... yeah. Not a bad little replay, that one. Bit of back and forth going on. Alright, final replay. Good old Penguin. It was really hard for me to get specific replays that showed off the Penguin flip effect, because like, every single time it's about to resolve, my opponent will concede. It was very hard to actually get the effect off without my opponent leaving the game. People were actually terrified of the Penguins. Alright, so initially when I'm playing against Punk, I like to use my Ash Blossom on their... when I'm playing against this particular deck list, because I was assuming this might be some sort of Chaos deck, but then it had 40 cards, so I was like, maybe he's playing Punk, just pure Punk. And as soon as I saw him search for this, I was like, oh yeah, this is a pure Punk deck. So I'm going to save this Ash Blossom for when he summons his fusion monster. Because Ash Blossoming that feels so good. So I'm going to let him resolve all this stuff, I don't care. It's pretty good to Ash Blossom this card generally, especially against the Chaos variants, but I'm just going to wait. Because I know this deck list needs to summon a fusion monster, and when they do, I'm Ash Blossoming that shit as quickly as possible. Alright, summons out his Carp. Thankfully he isn't able to chain block with his field spell, because that'd be real rough. Alright, Ash Blossom in that shit. Get that out of here. Alright. Unfortunately, he's still able to play the game a little bit, but fortunately for this replay though, so it would be pretty boring replay otherwise. Alright, summon out these dudes, does the full sort of Punk combo, but the most important thing is he actually didn't get his trap card, because his trap card is kind of annoying. Because obviously we don't have Droplet, we don't have outs to back row. Though we did set one back row, I forgot what it was. Alright. So from here we're going to start doing some Penguin stuff. Grabbing our Penguin Soldier. And here's an example, by the way, of how we happen to open Penguin Squire and we opened the field spell, so we can just search for your Penguin Soldier. And this is also, by the way, while we are running 2 Penguin Soldier, if I don't mention it during the deck list portion, because having 2 Penguin Soldier means at this point in the combo, we can search for one, so we can use it for the return 2 monsters to field, and then at the end of the combo, you can still summon one from the deck. It also means it's not as much of a garnet if you happen to open it, since you still want one to summon off of your level 6. Alright. It's even not that bad of a brick anyway, because it can just be used as a level 2 monster for sprites. Alright, so I'm going to use my monster on field to negate his little synchro summon here, or fusion summon, whichever one it was. Synchro summon, right? Yeah. Alright, flip face up, return 2 monsters to field, get these both off the field. Unfortunately, my opponent had a Droplet of his own, using it on a little Penguin. Imagine Dropletting this card, a card made in like 2001. And from there, yeah, now we can just do our whole get our whole Spright stuff. Man's negated a penguin. I don't think he even lets us try to do our full combo stuff. He's only got 5,000 life points, so he's dead as hell. Oh yeah, sorry, I actually forgot. We did see him search for this Ghost Ogre, so I wasn't going to go into my Gigantic first. I wanted to try to go into other stuff first, to try to either bait it out or to set up a nice end board without even needing Gigantic. Because generally they use the negate on the, the pop on the Gigantic, because it's sort of a negate as well for Gigantic. But yeah, he knew that I was going to summon my Gigantic. He has no other hand traps left or anything, so he just sort of, he just sort of left the game. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, hope to see you guys in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.